Hello and welcome. Today we're diving deep into something that's at the very core of being human, our powerful, almost primal need for community. It's this drive that shapes so much of our lives, often in ways we don't even see. And honestly, in a world that can feel more and more disconnected, figuring out how to build that connection is more important than ever. All right, let's get into it. Here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to explore the deep psychological why we need to connect in the first place. Then, we'll break down the anatomy of a community. What is it really? We'll look at the huge impact of belonging versus being isolated, and then we'll shift gears into a real, practical toolkit for building your own community. And we'll wrap up with a powerful new way of thinking about this whole idea that might just change everything for you.
So to kick things off, let's talk about why this desire for community isn't just a nice to have. It's actually a core part of our programming as human beings. It's a need that's just as vital to our well-being as the air we breathe or the water we drink.
Now, think about this for a second. We usually imagine our needs in a pretty simple order, right? First comes air, food, and water. Then, a safe place to live, away from danger. It just makes sense that nothing else could possibly matter until we're physically secure. But what if I told you there's a social force so powerful it can actually compete with our drive for safety? The answer really gets to the heart of who we are. And here it is, belongingness. And look, this isn't just about knowing a bunch of people or having a ton of followers online. The research is really clear here. It's a deep, emotional need to be an accepted member of a group. Those are the key words, accepted and group. It means you've moved past just being a familiar face. It's the difference between being someone in the crowd and being part of the team. This drive is so universal, we see it in every single culture, that psychologists see it as a fundamental piece of human nature. And if you look at Maslow's famous hierarchy of needs, it's pretty stunning where this fits in. Right after our physical and safety needs are covered, the things that literally keep us alive, the very next level is love and belonging. It's not some bonus feature. It's the essential third step. It's the foundation for everything else that comes after it. Our self-esteem, our confidence, our ability to go out and achieve our biggest goals. Without that sense of belonging, the rest of that pyramid gets really, really shaky.
This quote from psychologists Baumeister and Leary just drives the point home perfectly. When they say much of what human beings do, they mean it. Seriously, think about it. The clothes we choose, the music we love, the way we talk, even our biggest career goals, so many of our choices are shaped, whether we realize it or not, by this desire to fit in, to gain acceptance, and to feel connected to others. It's like this invisible force guiding so much of what we do every single day.
Okay, so we know we have this powerful, fundamental need, but what actually makes a group of people feel like a community? What are the magic ingredients that turn a bunch of individuals into a real, cohesive group where people feel like they truly belong? Let's break down its anatomy. This definition from McMillan and Chavis is absolutely crucial because it totally shifts our perspective. See, community isn't about the size of a town or the number of people in a room. It's about the experience. It's a feeling that you belong, a feeling that you actually matter to other people and they matter to you. And maybe the most important part, it's this shared trust, this faith that the group has your back and that you're all in it together. So they broke this feeling down into 4 essential parts that all work together. First, there's membership. That's the feeling of being an insider. It's about knowing who's in the group and who isn't, and feeling safe enough to be yourself. Second is influence, and this is a two-way street. You feel like your opinion matters to the group, but the group's values also matter to you. Third is integration and fulfillment. Basically, being part of this group meets a need for you. You get something valuable out of it. And finally, the glue that holds the whole thing together, shared emotional connection. This is the big one. It's built on shared experiences, shared struggles, and shared victories.
And here's where it all clicks into place with a simple example. Imagine a bunch of strangers who all sign up for a local basketball team. They show up because they want to play ball. That's integration and fulfillment. They all get the same jersey, they know who their teammates are. That's membership. As a team, they have to agree on plays and follow the rules. That's influence. But the real magic, the real community, starts to happen when they go through things together. They practice late, they lose a tough game, then they win a huge one in overtime. That shared experience creates that deep emotional connection. And that's what turns a group of players into a real team.
Now, having these elements, or not having them, isn't just a small thing. It has these profound, totally measurable effects on our mental and even our physical health. This is where we see just how high the stakes really are.
The emotional whiplash is immediate, and it is intense. When we feel accepted, our brains flood us with positive emotions: happiness, calm, satisfaction. Our self-esteem gets a nice little boost. But when we feel rejected, our brains sound the alarm with these powerful, painful feelings: anxiety, jealousy, even grief and depression. It's almost like our emotional well-being is directly wired to our sense of connection.
And what's just mind-blowing is how seriously our bodies take rejection. Brain scans have shown that the sting of being left out or ostracized lights up the exact same parts of the brain as physical pain. Let that sink in for a second. Your brain processes being ghosted by a friend in the same region that it processes a broken arm. And from an evolutionary standpoint, this makes total sense. For our ancestors, getting kicked out of the tribe was a death sentence. No protection, no food. So our brains developed this incredibly intense alarm system to scream at us that social rejection is a literal injury that needs to be fixed right now. So the takeaway here is that a chronic lack of belonging is so much more than just feeling lonely. The research connects it to a whole range of really severe problems. People who feel deeply disconnected are more likely to struggle with things like depression and anxiety, but it doesn't even stop there. The data shows links to behavioral issues, a tragically higher risk of suicide, and even a decline in physical health. It can weaken our immune system and increase inflammation. This need to belong is not a want, it is a biological necessity.
Okay, so we get the why and we get the what. Now let's pivot to the how. Because knowing you need a community is one thing, but actually building one as an adult can feel totally overwhelming. So this next part is all about actionable advice, pulled from counselors and from real people who've actually done this.
This quote from a user on Reddit just captures a really powerful feeling so many people have. A lot of the time, a big life change, a breakup, a move to a new city, it forces us to look at our support systems. And you have this moment of realization that putting all your connection into one person is a pretty fragile way to live. So the goal becomes building a life that's full of love and connection from lots of different places. It's about being proactive and creating a life that feels whole all on its own.
So where do you even start? Well, the most consistent advice is to go where your kind of people might already be. You have to put yourself in places that are built around some kind of common ground. Think about what you genuinely like to do. If you love to hike, find a hiking group. If you're a big reader, join a book club. The activity gives you a low-pressure reason to be there. And if you're passionate about a cause, volunteering instantly connects you with people who share your core values. And that is a powerful starting point for a real friendship.
But finding the right place is just the first step. Turning those first few meetings into real connections takes effort. The absolute key, and I mean the most important part, is consistency. There's this cool psychological thing called the mere exposure effect, which basically says we tend to like people more just by seeing them more often. Familiarity literally builds liking. So you gotta keep showing up. And then you have to take that small leap of faith and follow up. Send that text, say you had a good time. And a great little tip is to ask someone for advice. It's a simple way to show you value their opinion, and it opens the door to a real conversation. And above all, you have to be patient. Real community is not built overnight. It takes time.
All right, we're at our final section. And this one is about a really powerful shift in how you think about all of this. It's about moving away from the idea of finding something that's already out there and towards something way more active and empowering.
This incredible line from a Reddit user just brings it all home. Stop thinking of yourself as someone who's just looking for the right door to knock on, hoping someone lets you in. Instead, see yourself as the starting point. You are the center from which a community can grow. You're the one who can introduce your friend from book club to your friend from your volunteer group because you think they'd get along. You're the one who can organize the Sunday hike or the game night. You become the gravitational center. This completely reframes the whole thing from a passive search into an active, creative act of building.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Building a community isn't just about what you get out of it. The support, the love, the feeling of belonging. It's also about what you put into it. It asks you to think, what role will I play? Are you the planner who gets everyone together? Are you the great listener who people feel safe talking to? Are you the one who remembers birthdays and checks in when things get tough? It's an active process of creating and contributing. And by choosing to become the community yourself, you don't just find a place to belong. You build one for yourself and for everyone else lucky enough to be in it.